Addressed to Lulu Bassett. Translated from Spanish. Written over newspaper clipping of 1893 hurricane. We would rather stay dead. Why death has chosen us to come back to life, we don't know, but we are disgusted by its uncertain hand. We want answers. We demand punishment. I'm with a trio. The Reaper, Warmbite, and the French mother, that crooning old bone mason. Warmbite was working on a fire that would burn anything forever. Gravestones, poems, bodies. The Reaper's heart has changed. Something about his work being unmade doesn't sit well with him. The bone mason is enraged too. Death sets her free while ignoring who she wants to bring back. We witnessed a death at Pitching Crematorium. A stain reeked of it in our dark sight. We gathered to sit in a circle around the corpse, stoking a cook fire, eating a rabbit. "Do you think it will rise?" Warmbite asked. The Reaper stabbed the body with his scythe, and it spurted blood on the bone mason's bonnet. He apologized, tried to wipe it off her face. She bit his finger. I think I like her. "I feel old memories," the Reaper said. "I feel my childhood again." "You should cherish your childhood," the bone mason replied. "It is good to feel." "I never want to feel again," the Reaper replied. Warmbite kicked the body like it was a sad dog in the kitchen. "This land of the dead," he said. "Could we find someone who has been there? Could they give us some key to shut its door?" I set 2 hot embers over the corpse's eyes. "Forever dead," I told them. "Forever missed. Our pact is forged. Our mission is true. We will sneak through death's house, take advantage of its shadow, and learn truths of this land of the dead. We will find a way to keep the coffins closed. Petey, I miss you. I close my eyes and see you sweetly. I see a skull painted on the wings of a moth. I see an alligator eat that moth. I see a boat eat the alligator. I see 1,000 fires eat the boat. I see the night eat the fires, and then I see a sculpture. I rip the tongue out of it. I rip the tongue out of everything."
Near illegible text scrawled in boy notebook. Author unnamed. Undated. Chisel these words into the inside of your eyelids. We vow to let the sculptor make of us the sculpted. May we speak with the throats of insects and seep into wishes of their many thousand eyes. The rough tongue of the Moima stone cracks and breaks, and secrets come out. They rush my hearing with heat and promises, and strike a match and stick it inside too. Push its flame to the center of my mind and let it hum of hymns, and the snapping of so many spines, the world just stops. Stops it tick, tick, ticking. The Moima stone licked my mind from within the 3-packed showdown at the Delphine's grave. The rot jaw sizzled in sweet black fire with that Gar, queen of the primal, banishing on top of her lizard belly. Those fumbling smugglers rummaged through the Delphine's debris looking for guns and gold. but I found it first. Some ignorant and unblessed call it a relic, trying to sound learned. But us chosen know it as the meinem stone, for only we can hear its scripture. The stone spoke to me, and I pulled from its mouth a steaming cleaver. Dear cleaver. The stone told me a place where this prize would become blessed. The bush's den. The temple of meat and flame. My followers, demented and hungry, didn't believe me. They whispered and clacked and nipped at my ankles, but I showed them. I showed them at the slaughterhouse what I promised. Cleaver held to the sky, the divine lightning crashed down on me, burning those who tried to flee, and I breathed them in and turned them into more fire inside the meinem blade. I carried the blazing metal outside, with the true believers kissing my boot prints, and the false believers kissing twice as hard. The inferno unraveled itself as a tornado does. It spread to the soil and trees in search of the land's most precious hidden parts. I will be the edge that pries apart those secrets. When the world's skull splits open, I will not look away. I will drink from it.
Forestry burn log. Handwritten. Original. Undated. We didn't have long. We vowed to rage against flame with flame. We exploited chaos. We lacked the discernment of fire, and in its spreading took whatever victories we touched. The corn husks were dry and coarse against my hand. Embers flickered high up in the dark and brooding autumn sky. Henry scouted for signs of Cherry at the windmill. His mask was on, but I could tell he was jealous that he hadn't started this inferno. A true devil's advocate through and through. "Henry!" I called as he made his way back. "Did Cherry leave a note? Anything?" He shucked a husk and ran an ear of brown kernels across the wooden tongue of his mask. "The corn is full of sleeping fire, and the fire is speaking my mother's name." I threw my flare gun at him. He caught it against his chest. "If you keep speaking nonsense like that, I'll kill you with the corn." I snapped his stock in half. "Pull yourself together." We climbed the ladder to the lookout platform. The windmill creaked its hot metal and sounded like a person caught between gears. Across Seven Sisters' estate, dark figures hoisted the banished remains of the butcher atop a pyre and crawled around on all fours, grunting and hopping and biting at each other. Then the jackal laugh of a maniac came from behind us. A demented with a pumpkin over his head cackled and rocked back and forth on the top rung of the ladder. The pumpkin was carved with an artistry worthy of Rome. A steamboat dragged to hell, an alligator vomiting rain, insect limbs and mandibles more foul than an imagination can bear, holding a sculpture above an all-too-familiar barn. "We have our message, Henry." I took the pumpkin off the man's head. "I know where we need to go." Henry forced the flare gun into the lunatic's mouth and fired. We sat and watched his eyes burn from the inside out, shadows playing against his skull. We sat and watched the devil set loose in the smoke that rose into the sky.
Near illegible text scrawled in burned notebook. Author unnamed, undated. We caught him sniffing around, trapping at our altars. The beast hunter tossed the kid to the ground all wrapped up pretty in barbed wire. You know what we do with Sniffers? I hoisted him onto our new altar. We removed the tool that sniffs. We took turns spiking grubs and rat dumpers onto the points of the kid's sharp metal cocoon. Why do you think these altars give us gifts? I asked him. He sputtered bile through the tight wire. Because we are ants, I continued, worthless without direction. I grabbed a follower, a false believer, unworthy from the doubt flittering in the pus of their eyes, and tossed him to the ground before stomp, stomp, stomping his skull rotten apple smooth. How worthless? I asked those who remained. Worthless as the split piglet eaten by worms, they replied. I brought out their favorite object, the split piglet, so small and dead, so filled with maggots and feral blood milk. Mosquitoes drank its splendor and flew with fat bellies to feed themselves to beetles hungry in the rafters. Will the sculptor turn us into art? A follower on her knees wanted to know, brushes and dye strewn around her like a true painter. Yes, I told her. I dipped my fingers into the piglet and marked her forehead with the juice. We will gut and slash and slaughter and maul and bite and tear and bash our heads into hollows that heads weren't meant to hollow inside of. We'll scream inside their bodies, a prayer to set us free, they all chanted. I squeezed the piglet's blessings into the Moima Stone's mouth, all the curds and blisters and red milk gore. It hummed and delivered my intentions. Now, I proclaimed, pressing my shotgun to the kid's face, let's turn you into paint.